Okay, let's have a look at a slightly harder quadratic curve this time to plot. We've got y equals 2x squared plus x take away 3. This table of values is given to you by the examiner, so you don't have to think about what x values to pick. You can see we've got a symmetry of x coefficients going on, so you might be thinking we're going to have a symmetry of y coefficients going on to get the U shape, because we are expecting U shape. More about that symmetry later. None of these y values have been worked out. The examiner usually gives you some of those and asks you to fill in one or two missing blanks. I'm going to work them all out so we get a bit of practice at this. Here we go. If x is minus 3, x equals minus 3. So the y value will be equal to, well, we've got to use this equation now to work out the y value. So the y value will be 2 lots of x squared. 2x squared means you work out the x squared and then you double the answer. So you've got 2 lots of x squared. So you say x squared first and then double it. What you don't do, and this would be wrong to do this, is say let's work out what 2x is first, 2 times x, and then afterwards square the answer. If the examiner wanted you to do that, they would write it like this: 2x first and then in a bracket square the answer. That's what it would look like if you were going to do 2 times x first and then square the answer. It does not look like that there, so we do not do that process. This is what we're going to do. We're going to square the x first. So x is minus 3. You write minus 3, put it in a bracket, we're going to square it first. And then afterwards you will double the answer. Okay, then you have plus. Now a little hint to make life a bit easier for you would be, if you've got plus x, okay, I would strongly recommend you ask yourself, how many x's does that mean? And I would suggest put a 1 in there, so it's plus 1x. If you put plus 1x in, it will make it slightly easier to work out with the negative numbers that follow. Let me show you how. So I've put a plus 1x there. So what I've got here is now plus 1 times by x, 1 lot of x. So I'll put in a bracket that x is minus 3. So I've got plus 1 lot of minus 3 to work out. And then I've got take away 3. So I would suggest if it's just plus x, put a 1 in there, and it makes it easier at this stage. Here we go. So y equals minus 3 squared, that's plus 9. Double it, you get 18. And then we work this out by saying plus 1 lot of minus 3. Or if you like, plus 1 times minus 3. Plus times a minus is a minus, 1 times 3 is 3. Take away 3 on the end. So we end up with y equals 18, take 3, take another 3. And that gives you an answer of 12. So 12 goes in there. Next one. X equals negative 2. Let's write it down again. Y will be equal to, take the x and square it. That's negative 2 squared. Double the answer. Double it. Plus 1 lot of x. So it's 1 lot of negative 2. Take away 3. Take away 3. So y turns out to be negative 2. If you square it, you get 4. Double the 2 times the 4, you get 8. Plus 1 times minus 2. That's minus 2. And then take away 3. Remember, a plus times a minus is a minus. So you end up with y equals 8, take 2, take 3. That gives you an answer of 3. That goes in there. So I've shown you with the 2 hardest ones how to work these out. For the remainder, I'm going to do them in my head so we can speed this up a bit. So if I get rid of all of these, and in my head, let's work through this. If x is minus 1, you're going to get x squared. That's minus 1 squared. Minus 1 times minus 1 is plus 1. Double it, you get 2. Then I have plus 1 times minus 1. Well, a plus times a minus is a minus. So plus 1 times minus 1 is minus 1. So you've got 2 for that, take away 1. That's 1. 2, take 1 is 1. 1, now you take away 3 off the end. That's negative 2. Okay, let's do another one. The next one's a bit easier. If x is 0, square it, you get nothing. Double it, you get nothing. 1 times nothing is nothing. Nothing plus nothing, that's nothing. Take away 3, that's minus 3. Okay, next one. If x is 1, square 1, you get 1. Double it, you get 2. Add 1, you get 3. 1 times 1 is 1. Okay, so 2 plus 1 times 1 is 1. So 2 plus 1 is 3. 3, take away 3 is nothing. Next one, if x is 2, 2 squared is 4. Double it. Okay, 2 squared is 4. Double it, you get 8. Remember the 8. Plus 1 times 2, that's plus 2. Plus 1 times 2 is plus 2. Okay, we had an 8 there. Plus 2, that's 10. 10, take away 3, that's 7. Last one. 3 squared, 9. Double it, you get 18. Next, remember the 18. Plus 1 times 3, that's positive 3. So 18 plus 3 is 21. Take away 3, you get 18. So there's the table of values complete. Okay, now in the exam, they usually give you the axes set up on your graph paper ready for you to plot the curve. However, on occasions they just give you a blank piece of paper. So you do need to be able to construct the axes yourself if you need to. So looking at this, it goes from minus 3 to plus 3 and negative 3 on the y's to positive 18. So I would suggest some sort of setup that looks something like this would be a good idea. So we have got space on the x-axis to go to minus 3 and up to plus 3. We have space to go up to plus 18 and down to negative 3 on the y's. Okay, so the x values are 0, 1, 2 and 3. And they go down equal spacings, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. And the y numbers go up to 18, so I'm obviously going to have to change the scale here. So I'm going to go up in 2s, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 and 18, and going down the same way down here in equal divisions, minus 2, minus 4, something like that. Okay, now as you can see, even though we had a symmetry of x values, we're not getting a symmetry of y values here. And you might say, well, don't we get a symmetrical U-shape? Well, sometimes, yes, you do get a symmetrical U-shape. But be aware that two things could be going on here. Either the examiner is only giving you perhaps part of the U-shape, so you're not getting the full symmetry of the picture, so you're not going to get symmetry of values there. That's possible. Or it is also possible that you do get a U-shape, which is symmetrical, but the actual points you are plotting are not the symmetrical points. Something like that. So it is possible for you to get a symmetrical U-shape, but the points are not worked out symmetrically in the table. Let's see which one of these two options we get. Is it like that, or is it the case we're just getting perhaps half a U-shape? Let's see by plotting. Okay, so here we go. Let's plot the points. Minus 3, 12, minus 3 and up to 12. We get that. Minus 2, 3, minus 2, 3 goes there. Minus 1, minus 2 is a little bit squashed, but you can just about see that, I hope. 0, minus 3 is there. 1, 0 is there. 2, 7, 2, 7 is there. And 3, 18. 3 across and 18 up is there. So I think you can see that we do actually get a symmetrical U-shape. So it was the second option that I suggested to you. We don't have a symmetry of points from the table for the y values, for example, but we do get a symmetrical picture. So now we need to draw the U-shape. So the only thing I would say to you here is just be careful. If you don't have a symmetry of points, then that point there is not going to be bottom of the curve. Okay? That point there is not going to be bottom of the curve. If you have point, 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 and then point, and there's symmetrical points plotted, then that last single point is going to be the bottom of the curve. Okay? But that is not going to be what is going on in this occasion. What is going on here, it's only a subtle point, and I don't think for a question like this the examiner is going to make a big issue of it. It actually swings down and then up, and so the bottom of the curve is actually slightly displaced away from that last point. It's actually a little bit to the left. I really don't think at this level, at this moment in time on this particular question, we need to be really concerned about that. But just be aware that if you don't have a symmetry of points, let me show you with an exaggerated picture, you can see it happening. Let's say I had this U shape, one there, one there, one there, one there, like so, and you've got to draw the curve. So I hope you can see that the actual curve would actually do this sort of thing. Let me just extend it a bit down like that and then up like that. So even though that was a single point on its own, then the bottom of the curve is slightly displaced. Okay, so that's the sort of thing that's going on here. But because the picture I've drawn isn't that big, because it's only slightly displaced, I don't think the examiner is going to take too many marks away from you if you don't actually draw it in the correct fashion at the bottom there. But that's the basic idea of this question. The thing that makes it more difficult is the 2 in the front. And remember, 2x squared means you square the x first and then double it. And that's what a lot of people make the mistake with. What they do is they say 2 times x first and then square it. That's the wrong thing to do. That's the end of this video.